One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. So let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads, feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take some chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
They're back.
Yes, sir.
What up, though? What up, though?
What up,
How's it going?
though?
Man, these 7 days went by quick.
Dude, it felt like a couple of days.
Man, I'm telling you, I was thinking about that last night. Like, man, it's Wednesday already.
Mm-hmm.
Man, like I said, 7 days it went by. We back again. March Bishop, Mike Ball, got Aaron Olinger with us, and this is the Diamond Effect. So just like always, we're gonna go down the list, see what everybody did this week before we start into this show.
Well,
So,
it's funny that you just said how it seems like it was only a couple of days. It really has only felt like a couple of days. Honestly, it's been like super media driven for me the last week. I think that we're going to be going over some of this craziness that's going on in the world today on this very show. It's been very, very hectic for us independent news reporters, right? So that's what I do, and it's something that I've been immersed in. So if I'm going to be involved in it, I'm going to be studying the hell out of it. You know what I mean? I'm going to make sure I know what the hell I'm talking about.
right.
But other than that, it's been very good, man. It's been awesome hanging out with family. It's always a good time to be able to be with family and be able to, have good food and stuff like that. That's something that I'm like super big into, obviously. So what about you, Aaron?
Oh man, just
working this past weekend and spending time with my daughter this week. So I've been enjoying family time as always.
That's what's up.
Good things. Good things. Well, it's been copacetic, actually. I got I didn't have to do any filming this weekend, so I was able to, but I still had to work, so it wasn't like it was
No time off.
right. I still had to do that. But actually I got some I go back to filming tomorrow. Got a
Oh, that's
couple
gonna be dope.
yeah, they got 2 scenes that they want done tomorrow, so I'll be back on to it tomorrow. They're been working on it because they're trying to get everything together for that premiere for the first movie that we was doing, Riding Dirty.
When's that come out again? The premiere?
The premiere is October the 20th.
October 20th. And that's when you guys are doing the whole big premiere down there, right?
Right.
Gotcha.
It's a full red carpet premiere, the whole deal. They're gonna, I think it starts at like 5 o'clock in the evening, and it's not over until like well after midnight. So they're doing some stuff that they're doing beforehand, and they're going to show the movie. Then it's then they're having a party afterwards. This whole big to do. Like I said, it's my first time ever doing it, so you know what I mean. It'll be something exciting. But they're should be a good time. Should be a good time.
So what are you recording tomorrow?
Tomorrow it's on the movie that I'm doing now, Standing on Business.
Okay, right on.
So they're trying to get that one closed up by the end of October. So then they're planning on doing a release for that one somewhere around end of December, beginning of January, somewhere around in there.
Okay, right on.
Yeah, so they're working
So
on
it's
that.
actually all fairly soon, actually.
Yeah. A lot of this, a lot of this stuff is just going back to back. You know what I mean? So I got another one that they were talking to me about that they want to start up after Standing on Business is over with. So it's another one that I'm gonna be.
Damn, you got a whole ass roster.
Yeah.
Movie roster going on.
Yeah, it's moving along pretty good. They're I posted on the Domino Effect group page. They're for the ones who wants to come to the premiere, they got a link on there. You can go on there and pre-order your tickets and stuff like that. I don't know whether they're doing tickets at the door or not. I'm not quite sure.
I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, I don't think they will.
Right,
but
I
you
wouldn't
never
count
know.
on it.
Yeah, so I put the link up the other day, but I'm gonna put it up again for those that is they're interested in coming down. Y'all want to go to this premiere, have a good time. I'll put the link on there, but it's got quite a few people coming. People coming from Ohio and Texas and Kansas City and Kentucky. I mean, it's quite a few people that I
really
know.
hope that I can show up. That would be dope. You know what I mean? To be able to come over there.
Yeah, you need to come down. Actually, what I wanted to do was thinking about doing like a live feed.
Like maybe we can do an actual live stream it from there. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think we should do that.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that. I was going to run that by you to see.
I like where this is going.
Yeah, I think that'd be a pretty good deal. But for the ones that haven't seen the trailer, we'll hit the trailer right quick and then we'll jump into
Please do
this story. So we're gonna hit the trailer right quick for those who haven't seen it. You can see it, and like I said, after the premiere, if I'm not mistaken, I'm about 95% sure is going to Prime. About 95% sure this where it's going. But let me play this trailer right quick, and then we can get on with this show.
Absolutely.
Fucking Nick Taker. And I'd say I was excited to see you, but really, I'm just glad that your dumb ass doubled the bet to 100,000.
Y'all give it up for the infamous Dog!
scene, man. What we doing?
Shot! Too cold! TKO!
Where the fuck you get this from? Go to the TDR. After I shot him.
Any sudden move this motherfucker makes, do not hesitate.
What y'all talking about over there? Y'all talking about fucking each other's lives right now?
Get off the fucking bike, shut the fuck up, and get on your knees. Look what we have here. A bloody knife.
You got your brother at some safe house, ready for him to testify.
Fuck. This gotta be handled. A fucking President B-Mac sitting in fucking jail.
So what the fuck we doing about getting them out?
What'd you say to me?
All this ends now. No more bodies, no more hunting. You got beat in your own game, so own it and move the fuck on.
Well, one of my girlfriends told me they saw him hanging out. You are fucking the competition.
Bitch ass nigga!
What did you do, Naya?
Mom is not responding or moving.
Hey, yo, Pluto. You going brazen?
I have a 3 o'clock, so convention stay.
Sounds like he's involved in some really serious stuff.
What's up?
I know you got a plan.
You already know.
No, we good, folks.
Fuck! Fuck this!
When B-Mac was out, this will never happen.
Don't you speak on fucking club business, Keep that name out your fucking mouth, you understand me?
I left your key right where you told me. I'm just hoping you don't let me down.
Oh, yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna tell you what, that's a good movie. I'm not just saying it because I'm in it. I'm saying
I can tell.
It's
I
a
can
lot
tell
of
the
good
quality.
stuff in it. Now
Mhm.
you know most of the time when you watch a trailer, the trailer got all the action in it. So when you see the movie, like you have to watch the trailer, you done seen all the action parts on it. This one is a little bit different. This one
They
got
let
a lot. It's a
off-
lot of action.
Yeah, they let
lot
it
of action
all
throughout.
stay on the side. Right.
Right. It's a lot throughout. You know what I mean? So it's something that you definitely gonna want to see.
I can't
But,
wait to know the storyline. You know what I mean? That's what I dig.
Yeah. So this one, like I said, this one's good. Riding on dirt, standing on business that's a good one too. That's a good one too. But I think they're actually going to do a part 2 to this one. This riding dirty trailer here. I think they're going to actually do a part 2. They haven't came up with the actual date that they're going to do it, but I did hear through the grapevine that they're going to do a part 2, and it's going to be like even wilder than part 1. So
That's dope. I can't wait to see it, man.
yes, I think that's going to be real good. But like I said, I'm gonna be posting the details on that on the Facebook group. So you ones that's not on the group chat yet, go on there, type in the Diamond Effect on Facebook, join the group, and get the information along with a lot of other stuff. We be on there posting all day, every day. So so get on there. So let's kick this show off. The first thing we're going to talk about is Hurricane Helene that came through. It hit me first in Florida, and usually Florida get hit, and everybody else kind of
And
gets,
that's it.
gets
Yeah.
scared. You know what I mean? Y'all get some rain, you get a little bit of
We
wind.
get a little bit of wind. you
Right.
know?
Maybe a little something here and there, but nothing outrageous. Well, this time it was something totally different, being the intensity of this storm, because this storm hit land at a high category 4. So by the time it hit Georgia, it was still a low cat 4 to a high cat 3
Right.
as it traveled across, and it
That's so crazy.
throughout. But I think the biggest state that it hit that did the most damage was in North Carolina.
Yep.
North Carolina suffered big time. especially the western side of North Carolina, over near over around Asheville, in that area. I know a lot about that area. I own some property not too far from there. It did a lot of destruction there. Interstate 40, it like washed out most of the interstate, like just knocked it down into the river. All the roads right now was strictly for emergency use only. Like there's nobody out there joyriding doing nothing. But I got a quick little video that I'm gonna play right quick. Actually, I got two.
Okay.
Probably about a minute and a half total. So I'm gonna play both of them, and then we're gonna jump into this conversation.
Cool.
Hurricane Helene, blamed now for more than 130 deaths in the southeast. Rescue crews in western North Carolina are struggling to clear damaged roads and help people in some of the hardest hit communities.
According to the people that we spoke with here, they say that they are in desperate need of food and supplies. Meanwhile, elsewhere in North Carolina, more than 380,000 people are still without power. But another big concern here is spotty cell phone service, leaving many residents cut off from the outside world.
Food, water, and other essential supplies arrived in Swannanoa, North Carolina by air Monday afternoon after Hurricane Helene left hundreds of streets and highways in the region impassable. The state's Department of Transportation says all roads in the western part of North Carolina should be considered closed to non-emergency travel. On Monday, we saw aid workers in Swannanoa handing out hot meals to those in need.
Thank you so much.
This video, taken last Friday, shows just how high the floodwaters reached in Swannanoa, only leaving rooftops visible. Pat Harris has lived in the area for 6 decades.
This is devastation. Devastation. It's the worst I've ever seen. And I'm 80 years old.
The raging floodwaters were so strong they wedged this car into the side of a house.
FEMA officials say that they will be delivering truckloads of both food and water every day to North Carolina.
I'm okay.
My car's gone.
I'm okay. It's okay.
The everything's gone. It's all gone.
It's okay. It's okay.
Are your parents okay?
They're okay.
Was anybody in the gym?
It's okay. It's okay.
Hey, you're...
Damn.
Now that's something else right there.
I thought it was sped up for a second. And then,
Yeah.
and then they started speaking. I was like, oh my God, dude, that's crazy.
Well, you hear the woman was trying to be calm, like it's okay, it's okay.
It's
Like,
okay.
nah,
It's okay.
nah,
No,
it ain't
no, shit ain't okay right now. Yeah.
You know?
Nothing about
I mean,
this
could
is all
you-
right.
Right. I mean, like, could you imagine seeing this mudslide coming and there's absolutely nothing you can do?
There isn't
Absolutely nothing
anything.
you can do.
Yep. That's
No.
what's sad about it. Can't do
Right.
anything.
And you know, they haven't had a storm like that. They haven't had a flood like that in that part of the US since like 1916. I mean, like
Damn.
that literally does not happen in that area. And
That's crazy.
I mean, it's just total devastation there. You know, so and you know, even that way, you know, a lot of people they're actually going to be messed up all the way around, because not only in a lot of these reports you're hearing that, you know, they feel that they're not getting enough help from the government that's good, you know, I mean, coming there and helping them, but also you got to remember they live in the mountains, so they don't need flood insurance, but they just got flooded. You know what I mean? So is the insurance going to actually cover that, or they're going to use that as a reason not to cover them? Be like, oh, you didn't have flood insurance, even though you're in the middle of the mountains, shouldn't be flooding there anyway. You know what I mean? So that's a whole nother bag that you're dealing with. What do you think about that, Aaron?
Well, I'm telling you, that storm was unprecedented. I mean, it went from a Cat 1 to a Cat 4 in less than 12 hours. That is high intensity right there. The thing that makes me the maddest right here is I feel that all the meteorologists grossly, and I mean grossly, underestimated the strength of that storm after it arrived on land. And then as it came up through the United States, they continued to underestimate it. I mean, my area in Ohio sent a lot of our linemen down to Florida to try to help Florida get their power back on. And it came into my area and shut the power off. And there we were operating on a skeleton crew because all of our people went somewhere else to try to help out. And in North Carolina, I don't know how large their National Guard force is, but their National Guard has been just recently sent overseas. So they're not even there to be able to help the people. Now, there may be some Guard units left, but it won't be the same number and the same amount of equipment that they would have had if this storm would have been so grossly underestimated.
Mm-hmm.
And
I heard about
go
this
ahead.
that they had sent the National Guard over to the Middle East, literally like right before this took place. So yeah, they are undermanned. Like I said, a lot of these different newscasts that I've watched, people were upset and complaining, was talking about, that FEMA wasn't there. A lot of the help that they thought that the government should have provided there, they haven't showed up yet. I've seen reports where truck drivers were en route to there to drop off supplies and stuff, and they were stopping at certain rest areas and was getting their tires slashed. It was one that I think he had every one of his tires had been slashed, and it was like a couple different rest areas that they were going to, that their tires would end up getting slashed, and which of course they had to go get new tires and all that stuff before they could even get there. They were putting out messages over social media, letting people and other truck drivers know that if you coming this way, don't stop at these areas because
keep going.
Tires, right? Because they flattening tires, trying to keep people from going there to give the aid that they're supposed to give.
Unreal.
But then on top of that, you had another report that I'd seen where they were the policemen were telling people to make sure that they were armed because the looting done went catastrophic, and they're breaking in, trying to take any and everything that they can take. Which that's one of the things me and you were talking about, Aaron, before, that when you have a event that happens this way, people automatically thinking that FEMA and the government is just going to come rushing in and save the day, but that's not the case. You know what I mean? Now they're going to come eventually, but starting out, and the fact that that stuff covered so many states, they're going to be spread it thin.
Yep.
You're basically going to be on your own, and you can see there where it's starting to have a little bit of unrest there, where people are going around and they're looting and scavenging and all that. Basically the same stuff that we have been talking about before, that people now seeing, full scale as to what's going on.
Did you guys see how much we're estimated right now in damages for this hurricane that you guys have dealt with?
No.
Over $100 billion. $100 billion, dude.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
It tops the records by like tenfold. It's unreal.
Well, here in Florida, they just put a memorandum out. Governor DeSantis did that these insurance companies couldn't cancel policies, because last time when Ian came through here, these insurance companies was hurrying up canceling people's policies because they knew it was getting ready to hit.
So
dirty. I guess they were trying to do the same thing this time, so he put something in place that they couldn't do that.
Good. Absolutely.
And I'd just like to add to what you said earlier. It wasn't the tire slashing was occurring at both the truck stops as well as the rest areas. And it amazed me that people could be that insensitive to want to try to sabotage and prevent help from arriving to people. And I don't know if you guys notice or not, but whenever it's a category 4 or category 5, and a person says that I'm going to ride it out. They tell you, the government tells you to take a permanent marker and write on your body your name and your birth date so that they can easily identify you in the event you don't make it. So anyone that chose to ride this out, they were told that. And that kind of amazes me. But I know that when a body's been in water for a while, it bloats, it makes it hard to identify. But there were people actually were told in certain areas to write on themselves their name and their birth date so that they could be identified.
So do you know the also, I mean, since we're talking about that as well, the death count. The death count is let me double check, 128 right now. Right this
Wow.
second. Yeah, that's unreal.
But
Unreal.
they're still finding people because they were
Yeah.
talking about finding people people was washing up that had washed up through the river. They found some that was in trees. They found, I mean, like they've been finding people everywhere. You know, I
Right.
seen one video where it showed a casket going down the river. Don't know where it came from, but it was going down the river. You know, it's I think a lot of people in that particular area didn't adhere to the warning because they're thinking that don't never happen over here. You know what I mean? Like we may get some rain, yeah, and it may do a little something. It ain't gonna do that. It ain't never done that here. You know,
Right.
just
It
like
was
the one
totally
lady said on the
unexpected.
video. Right. She said, I'm 80 years old, it's never done that. You know,
She's like, I've never seen it. Never
right.
seen it.
You know, so a lot of them kind of got caught off guard and unfortunately, you know, had to pay the price for that. You know what I mean? People really need
Unfortunately.
to start taking these storms seriously. You have a lot of, a lot of people think that, when you start talking about climate change and stuff like that, people are like, oh no, that don't exist. Yes, it absolutely does. I mean, and you think about the intensity that these storms have been throughout the years, and they've been growing in intensity. You know, just how fast this storm went from a 1 to a 4. Like right now, they have there's another storm that's creeping in the same spot
I
right
heard
now.
there's like 2 or 3 or something behind trailing.
Well, right. There's one that's in the Caribbean right now. There's 2 that's out in the Atlantic. One they already know that's going to curve, but it's one behind it. They don't know what it's going to do, but it's another low that's coming up beside this other low that they're talking about that's in the Caribbean. And they don't know exactly where that's going to go. You know, they're thinking that it's going to curve. And the way they talking about it curving now, that it may hit Tampa head on. But they don't know whether it's going to be an actual hurricane or is it going to be a tropical storm or just depression. So they don't know exactly what it's going to be yet because it's just sitting out there, just amping up. You know what I mean? They was thinking that maybe the water would be cool enough to keep it from happening, but it didn't cool it down that much. You know what I mean? Especially when you had water at that time was almost 90 degrees out in the middle of the Gulf. I mean, you're not going to cool it down too much. So, like I said, so we got some more. So we got another storm that's coming. We got to wait and see.
Let me add one more thing. Okay.
Go ahead, bro.
What creates the intensity is when you have the ocean cooling faster than the atmosphere. That creates a high wind turbulence. And this thing was pushing a 20-foot storm surge, which that's a lot of water that thing is moving. And then you got sustained winds of 140 miles an hour. I mean, for the poor people up in North Carolina to lose their National Guard at a time that they're needed to rescue, people are still trapped out there. And with no cell service, how can you call for help? I mean, that was something that they went on and took the National Guard away. Man, I feel sorry for those people that are there. I mean, they were 100 miles from the coast, so they probably felt they were safe. But when you have a storm dumping water like that thing was, and you have, I would say you're up in the mountains, you don't get much warning when a flash flood is coming. And then it's moving dirt, trees, and debris with it. I mean, it's quick. By the time you hear it, it's almost on top of you, and then it's too late to hardly get away. I mean, a regular flood you might see developing over time. A flash flood, that's quick. You don't have hardly any time to react. I'll stop.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we like I said, we send prayers for the people in North Carolina, and hope that they get the aid that they need and be able to come out of this. Like I said, it's going to be a big rebuilding stage, but a lot of
Humongous.
communities down that way.
$100 billion.
Right.
100 billion. I mean, that's a lot of rebuilding. And
Right.
not to mention the lives that were lost in this whole thing. That's a lot of people to go out. Again, 128 people, man. That's just tragedy.
Right. And counting.
Yeah, and counting. Right.
Right. And counting.
Sadly. And we still got another 3 that are spinning offshore right now. It's like, man, it's just prayers are continuing.
Right. Right. So let's hope that they get the relief that they need quickly, before anything else goes on. And you got to think, man, without food and water, you can only go so long without it.
Damn straight.
So let's pray that they get what they need and be able to recover from what's going on. So the second thing we're going to talk about is I'm sure a lot of people has probably talked about this routinely throughout the day about the port strike that started at 12:01 on October 1st. I know today at work I heard people kind of talking about it, but like they brought it up, they really didn't understand exactly what all it entailed. They just said, well, they just on strike because they want, a raise, but they didn't really understand the ramifications behind the port strike. So I know we all gonna be chiming in on this, but I'm gonna start it out. So
please do. Yep.
So this port strike started between the ILA, the International Longshoremen Association, and they have been working on trying to get a contract through with USMX. And one of the biggest problems that they're having is that a lot of these ports now, they're trying to make these ports automated. And by them making it automated, it's costing a lot of people going to be losing their jobs if they did that. And their union president, Harold Dodgett, he is like, no, I mean, so you automate these ports. What happened to these guys? What happened to these guys that's almost ready to retire? What about these, these ones that's been working here for years, putting in work? Now, remind you, between the East Coast and the Gulf Coast ports, they handle 51% of all the import and export that go in the country and goes out.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're not working, nothing's moving, which means them ships are just sitting out there. They're not taking
they're out at anchor
off of it. They're doing nothing. They're just sitting there
on anchor. Yep.
And so you have to they do approximately, between those two, between the East Coast and the Gulf Coast, they do approximately 1 million containers every month that comes into these ports. But like I said, their big issue is dealing with the automation of what they're trying to, and they basically trying to weed these people out, and they want a raise. Now, the amount of that raise, I was like, wow, I ain't never seen nobody give a raise that big, because it's like well over 70% over, was it like a period of 5 years or 6 years?
Yeah, usually 5 or 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact though.
But like also during the time when everybody was sitting at home doing COVID, these guys were still out there working too, unloading these ships and
I was a part of that.
Getting everything together. Right. So you was in the
IBU. So the IBU is the ILWs, which is the strongest union out of all the longshoremen. That's the International Longshoremen's Warehouse Union. And
right.
those guys, we were the same branch. We were under the same union. And so the ILA, you know, they dealt with you know, basically the East Coast, Gulf Coast, stuff like that. So it was kind of like a known thing, you know, between the two, but we dealt with the same exact issues. I mean, the last time we had a port shut down in Port of Los Angeles and Port of Long Beach, you know, it was during the Obama administration, and Obama had to visit because of how hardcore it was. I mean, we had ships from LA all the way anchored from LA all the way down to San Diego. It was crazy. Never seen anything like it. But yeah, I mean, if you shut down commerce, you shut down the world. Yeah, it's crazy.
Right. You know, they were talking about like the imports are coming in from Asia, for instance. Being that the Houthi has the Red Sea blocked, they've been going around them. So they've been going all the way down around Africa, coming back up into Europe, and then taking the cargo from one ship, putting it into another ship, and then bringing it over here. But if they're not accepting ships right now, then all that cargo just sits in Europe, just stacking up, you know. And it's not just the loaded containers that you got to worry about. It's the unloaded is the ones that's emptied as well, because you got to get them out the way too. You know what I mean? And
it's a whole logistical mess up. I promise. Yeah, we still haven't recovered from the Obama administration, like I was telling you. We still haven't recovered as a nation from those original shutdowns. Like, that's how long it affects. It's forever. It's you'll never make that money back. It's gone.
Right. Now
you're in the deficit.
Now I know the union that you were with over in California. Now, so you would think, like, people would, like, some of these companies be like, okay, we're going to, you know, turn around and send it that way. But they can't handle that either, because they were, from what I was reading, they said it's you know, they're big ports, LA and in Long Beach, but they do not have the infrastructure nor the warehouses capable enough to hold that much shipping.
Well, here's also something that is to put into consideration is the actual shipping routes from the East Coast compared to the West Coast. So the West Coast receives all of China. You know what I mean? That's the difference. That's the key. You know what I mean? And so trade routes on that side of the equation is insane, because basically everything that comes from China comes through Port of Long Beach. You know, that's just Port of LA, same area. And it's insane how it works, but it's kind of insane. But also, real quick, on the automation thing, you know, completely came in to the Port of Long Beach at least 10 years ago. You know what I mean? This is nothing new. They did that, and that was the whole original strike back then 10 years ago. You know what I mean? It was a long fight. I mean, it was a super, super long fight. But here's the thing, is what I found out is that these guys spent $10.6 billion to automate their one terminal out of 400 in the Port of LA, right? So they made one, and they spent that much money, and then they saw what it can do. But here's the thing, is technology is going to continue to grow, and us as employees, we can't just be stagnant doing the exact same thing. The honest truth is you gotta acclimate, just like in any other world situation. Like when cranes came out and they were unloading by containers, that was the biggest strike back in the day, because they were containers, because there was more people when they were bundling up stuff with straps, and they were doing it, like, they actually had more people dealing with it. And then to them back then, it was automation, you know, super, super long time ago, you know, and so they were worried about it back then. And so it's kind of weird how it just continues to go down the line. But the truth is the guys aren't really super losing the jobs. The ones that are losing their jobs are the ones that are not willing to learn. Like, okay, well, I'm not going to be driving a UTR around the little area right there in the harbor for $150,000 a year anymore. Now, what's going to end up happening is I'm going to learn how the computer system works for the crane. or I'm willing to learn how to fix that issue if there is an issue. You have to you know, grow and evolve as well. You have to adapt.
Right. I mean, now, would you think that, okay, so let's say, for instance, and I'm asking you this question because I know this was your job for a long time. Okay, so would you think that with them doing the automation and bringing in the new stuff, now you would think with like everything that they put in new, that it would cost some jobs. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
it will.
Like they can't keep everybody and still automate it too.
It
You know
will.
what I mean?
It will shave off some. Yes.
See, and I think that's probably what I think that was also one of the
That's the
things
ultimate.
that they were talking about. You know what I mean? Especially like when people were
You
like
can't
up
you
for
can't get
retirement
around
and
it.
stuff like that as well. To be able to keep
You
their
can't get
retirement.
around it.
Right.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
I got a hold on, I got a quick little thing about it. Let me hit it right quick.
If they go to put a fully automated terminal or the United States, we are going to shut them down around the world and put them out of business. Now, we might shut them down for 3 weeks to send them a strong message. None of your ships are going to move. But if they think they're going to keep going and putting on fully automated terminals and knocking out great jobs that dock workers have worked for 200 years to bring these people to where they are today, and now it's all about greed and money, they don't need us no more. They want to put a fully automated terminal in and get rid of us. I'm not going to allow that. I will never allow that. You understand me? So this is a must. We're going to have this alliance, and we're going to make it work. We're going to show the companies we have the power, not you. We will tell you, you are not going to do it no more. These people today don't know what a strike is.
Right.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the company's money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. And in today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you, and you have no idea what.
Yeah, those words, I will cripple you. It's true though. Right. He does have that kind of power, you know, and that is kind of what is crazy about you know, people go, well, union this, union that, you know, and that's kind of hot in the media right now. But the truth is let's just say that 99.999% of unions do not have that kind of power. Just because they can't shut down the country. You know what I mean? That's where if we stop all, you know, actual labor, it shuts down all commerce. It's just you can't get around it. You need to have it. And you know, union guys know that, of course. But it's also a misconception, you know, with like the whole thing, like with guys also making like crazy amount of money. All these guys are asking for a huge amount of raise. Well, here's the thing, like the truth is it's everything is scalable. When the union sees that the companies are making a certain margin higher or whatever the case is, there's usually after the 5-6 year contract is up, there's a sit down to renegotiate. And that's normal. This is nothing new. Like what's going on right here, we were like 10 years ago. This is nothing new for us, at least. We're at all the West Coast, and trust me, I've been in contact with all my longshoremen homies and all that stuff, and they're like, no, we get what they're doing, but that was the fight that we did a long time ago.
Okay, so what's the big issue though? I mean, like, why can they not come to the table with this agreement? I mean, like, why is the USMX like holding off on making these deals with them?
Well, usually, I'm gonna answer this real quick, and then I'll let Aaron go ahead. Usually, at least, I was a shop steward for my actual union, for the company itself, and so I have a little bit of insight on like the union ordeal and stuff like that. But listen, man, the majority of the time, the union guys are going, we're waiting we're sitting at the table. And I'm not going to speak for them. I'm not going to speak for their contracts because I don't know what's going on. But at least anecdotal experience with me, every single time that we got into contract negotiations, we would be sitting at the table going, what do you guys want to do? You know what I mean? And they're sitting there like saying, it's this or absolutely nothing. So there's no good faith bargaining. And so when they put the wall up and they say, this is it or nothing. Well, then we're like, well, what do we do? You know what I mean? Like you have to be able to bargain.
Right.
So I feel for that on that aspect because I actually understand it, like being inside of it itself. But Aaron, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Okay. Originally, the contract was formed in 2018. Apparently, their contracts last 6 years at a time. So now it's 2024. It has expired. Now, they are asking for 77% increase in wages, but that's going to be taken over a 6-year period, which based upon the rate of inflation and the cost of living today, that's not too much. I mean, that just keeps them a little bit ahead of that. They're asking for limits on the use of automated machinery like cranes, gates, container moving trucks, because they're afraid that AI is going to come in and totally replace them. They're asking for job stability. They're asking to be able to earn enough money to put their kids through school. And these schools are more expensive than they used to be. I mean, the USMX that's negotiating against them, they're being accused right now of taking profit over people. And that's about what it looks like to me. I mean, I'm an ex-union employee with the automotive thing, and I take a hard line when they start looking to replace people. Now, true, you got to keep your skills current. You got to adapt to the new environment. Otherwise, you get left behind. Technology is going to roll right over you. But, if they get a contract right now, it's going to only be good for 6 years. They'll have job security for 6 years. And that's not a lot of time. That time flies right now. So,
you know what we used to call each contract? It was borrowed time. It was borrowed jobs. It was borrowed time. So yeah, we made a killing while we were doing it, but by the end of it, we don't know if we're going to have to sell our houses. We don't know if we're going to have to sell our cars. Yeah, no, it's a terrible ordeal. Yeah.
Right
rough.
now, those 14 ports that are going out, you got 51% of what's coming into the United States is coming through there. I mean, from Asia, 50% that's coming to that West Coast is coming through the Panama Canal because it's back running, like you said, Bishop, and it's coming to that side of the United States. 30% is coming from Europe. 20% is coming from Latin America. So that's the breakdown of what's coming in there. Now, I'm going to propose something to you, and you guys might get mad at me for saying this, but I'm going to tell the truth. Anytime in the automotive industry we were going to go out on strike, the company would work the hell out of us. I mean, we'd be working Saturdays and Sundays, all the overtime you could want, because they were trying to build up a strike bank so that when we went out the door, they could starve us out and wait us out, and we'd have to come back when we ran out of money. So I'm telling you right now, from what I investigated, from July in itself, was the largest month for stuff coming into the United States through those ports. It was record breaking. I mean, and in just say January to July, over 7 million containers came through those ports, with July being the record breaker, which tells me the same people that made money off of inflation and was greedy and stocking up and made money off of rising prices. People have filled up warehouses, stocking up for this. They could see this coming. They knew it was coming. They knew when the contract was going to expire and what possibly could happen. And as we get into the third week, the fourth week, you're going to see shortages here in the United States. Basic law of economics: when supply is low, prices grow. It goes up. So these people sitting on this stuff in these warehouses that's going to play into these shortages, oh, they're going to capitalize big time, because they're going to sit on that stuff until the prices go up to a certain level, and then they're going to put it out there and they're going to make money big time. I mean, there's always an end game, and there's people looking to capitalize off of stuff like this, and there's people that's going to do it. So people need to understand some of this is true. He can't shut down the economy. In fact, from what I saw, overall, it's going to cost the American economy $7.5 billion per week to shut that down like that. But those that are sitting on inventory is going to be profit taking like you wouldn't believe. And it's not going to take long, between 3 to 4 weeks. I mean, as of today, the trains in that area have all shut down. I don't know if you guys heard about that or not, but they just pulled them into the station and parked them. I mean, there's nothing they can haul. So it's going to be a chain reaction shutdown of even the automotive industry. So, but just sitting back, watching it all. And when he mentioned the Taft-Hartley Act, I want to address that a little bit. In 1947, you had the Taft-Hartley Act that was created on June 23rd, 1947. It became the law of the land. Now, Truman vetoed it. President Truman vetoed that, but Congress still pushed it through. It's a Labor Management Relations Act. It restricts activities and power of labor unions, which basically it's union busting. Now, could it be put in place right now? Yeah, they could declare it. They could try to force them to go back to work, and the government could come in and step in and try to settle it themselves. But what is the end game here? Why are they not employing it right now? Could it be that maybe a certain presidential candidate can parachute in and appear to solve this and save the day? What's the end game? What's strategy? This stuff ain't just happening on its own. There's other forces at play here that will take advantage, because I mean, what was the saying that you don't let no good disaster go to waste? I mean, there's always opportunity if you look for it. So I'm gonna stop there.
Real quick, I just want to give a shout out to brother Lee Lance for the 5 spot on the Cash App, man. It's much appreciated. Sincerely. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I seen on there where they were talking about the railroad shutting down, but you figured that was all gonna be like a chain reaction. So if you're not getting any product, then the railroad ain't running, semi trailers ain't, you know what I mean? There's nothing to pick up, you know what I mean? So that's going to affect a lot of things. And being the fact that, you know, with these railroads running, a lot of those railroad areas are messed up because of the storm, because you got trees down, you got you know, damage throughout. Once you get over towards North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, that area there, they got a lot of stuff messed up with those tracks too. So that's going to limit where those trains are going to go as well, you know. So it's kind of like a chain reaction. One thing, you know, we can't do nothing here, so this one ain't moving, this one ain't moving, this one ain't moving. Like me and you were talking about the other day, Aaron, you said when you went in the store and they had bought all the toilet paper up. Well, I went to the store today and seen the same thing. Like why come everybody run and buy all the toilet paper? It's like
It's so dumb.
You don't worry about nothing else but toilet paper.
They're
you know
stupid.
what I mean?
Stupid move. I mean, that's low IQ movement right there.
Right. That toilet paper made here. That's not imported. You don't gotta take all of it. It's plenty. It's gonna be plenty of toilet paper.
And that's the thing about it. I mean, money isn't infinite in each person's household. It's a limited resource. And you have to look on the package. What area is this product manufactured in? If it's out of the country, prioritize your money to stockpile that item. If it's made in the country, you've got nothing to worry about. And toilet paper is made here. So to be making that move and thinking you're not going to get it, that's a fool's errand right there. But anything made outside the country, I don't care if it's oil filters, if it says made in China on it, nothing's coming in here. I mean, people are actually in a survival situation where they know it. You have no idea when this strike is going to end. The three things that we're talking about today, the Israeli war, this hurricane, this strike, all three, the one thing that they all have in common is they will break the supply chain. If the Israeli war breaks out, oil's not going to be flowing. The strike lasts any more than 4 weeks, nothing's coming in. It's going to hurt the population. The hurricane, like you said, Bishop, it's already slowed down transport of trucks and material to different areas. Even the trains can't run because bridges are washed out and things. I mean, that's the thing they all share in common. And it's just a coincidence that they all are happening at the same damn time. But I digress. So I'll stop there.
Yeah, it's crazy how that's going about. Like I said, that's gonna be something else that we're gonna have to watch out for. You know what I mean? Because that's gonna, they said, that has ramifications for a lot of different things. You know, they said that the oil prices went up 2% just as soon as they said that the strike was going to happen. Oil went up 2% just that very day. So you know, gas going to shoot up. Everything else going to shoot up because people going to take advantage of it. You know what I mean? Thinking because okay, everything else going to make my little bit of money off of it too. And then I think a lot of this longshoremen, I think the reason why they're so up in arms about getting their money is that the USMX profited over $500 billion last year. You know what I mean? So that's probably another reason why they're saying, okay, well, why can't we get our deal? I mean, y'all just made all this money off our back last year alone, but we can't get our money when it's time to do these contracts. You know what I mean? So
that's the question often, you know, like, hey, you guys are making this is the margin that you guys normally do. This is what we do, you know, absolutely. And also for everyone that's saying that like 77% is crazy over 6 years, it is. That's something, but we are also in a crazy economy as well. Now, listen, I was on a 3 and 4% increase for, 5 years at a time as well. I know it sounds crazy, but you put that in 6 years, that's a lot of percentage as well. But even then that wasn't enough. So they're fighting for at least what the economy is bringing them, anyways.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna jump into the last topic that we're gonna do here. And I'm just gonna play the video first.
Sure.
And then we're just gonna jump right into it.
Let's do it.
Iran launched a barrage of missiles at Israel, sparking terror on the streets of Tel Aviv. Rockets lit up the sky and smashed into buildings as air sirens blared across the country just hours after the White House had warned an attack was imminent. The first missiles were fired around 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, according to reports out of Israel. The U.S. warning had come about 5 hours earlier. The terrifying attack was in response to Israel's killing of Hezbollah's senior leadership and its ground invasion of southern Lebanon. Iran's state TV claimed that 80% of their missiles launched at Israel hit their target. It's unclear exactly what the targets were. Just before the Iranian missile barrage began, Israeli police said gunmen opened fire in Tel Aviv on the boundary with Jaffa, leaving at least 8 dead. The attack raises the possibility of all-out war between the two bitter enemies, who have fought a shadow war for years, as Tehran sought to destroy Israel, and Israel tried to rein in Iran's nuclear program. Follow Daily Mail as we continue to cover this breaking news.
Yes, sir.
Now, Aaron, now I know this is your thing right here, so I'm gonna let you start it.
Okay. I'm going to tell you this, and this is just my personal opinion. I feel that Iran was trying to get the maximum kill that they could get. Not they shot at Tel Aviv. They shot at a civilian population, and luckily they didn't hit much. I mean, what makes me say that they was going for maximum damage is they didn't call ahead like the Israelis have been doing and saying, well, we're about to bomb this area. You better move some of your people out. They waited till after dark when most people are in bed, and then they launched those damn missiles. And then you saw a bunch of them hit the ground because they overwhelmed the system while the people were reloading their launchers. There was nothing going up into the sky to intercept. And that's what their whole plan was. Plus, they used the Kinzhal missiles, which is the hypervelocity missiles that are much faster and harder to intercept. They fired over 180 of them at Israel overnight going into the early morning.
Mhm.
And knowing that they went after the capital, Tel Aviv, Israel's going to have to counter back. And when they counter, it's going to be massive. I mean, if you want to put Iran in the hurt locker, you're going to have to hit their oil refineries. You got to hit them in their pocketbook. Because anytime you can hit a man in his pocketbook, you're going to immediately affect him like that port strike is going to do to this nation's economy. I mean, right now, you got two adversaries we got to watch out for. They're kind of on our side in a way. Jordan, the king of Jordan, is one. The Egyptian president is the other one. Now, the Egyptian leader, he's in battle right now. The war hawks in his country want him to attack Israel from behind. Now, they've moved up forces. Sinai Peninsula, Israel gave it back. They signed an agreement that there would be no armor or artillery in the Sinai. Well, they got it almost up there on the border, and from space, I mean, from the satellites, you can see massive amounts of equipment sitting there close to Gaza, ready to go into Israel. Now, we give them, I think it's somewhere around 100 million a year. We're buying their loyalty, basically. And then they take that money and go buy weapons from the Soviet Union. That's the funny thing. They're not even buying weapons from us, but we're kind of buying their loyalty. But the war hawks, especially the Islamic ones, they want something done now. And they want the military of Egypt to turn on the leader and do a coup or something and depose him. So right now, he's barely holding on to power. The king of Jordan, he's got over 11 million PLO in his country along the border there, and they're wanting to come in and fight, and they're putting pressure on him. And Jordan's military is not that strong. That PLO army could actually turn on him and battle him. But right now, you look at Iran. Iran's, if the United States enters or Israel attacks the oil refineries or their nuclear facilities, then they're going to attack Jordan, they're going to attack Saudi Arabia, and they're going to attack certain other oil refineries, and they're going to plunge the economy into the pits. But what they don't know is you got countries like Venezuela that's got more oil than Saudi Arabia that's right off of our coast. Okay. So we have an alternative of where we could buy oil from if we chose to. Plus, we're exporting oil right now. So we're manufacturing that we're in the top 10 exporters of oil ourselves. So them thinking that, well, we're going to attack innocent countries and we're going to probably attack the Suez Canal and we're going to stop stuff from flowing, you're hurting yourself, because Jordan would definitely join sides with us. Saudi Arabia, who was jumping sides because of the BRICS alliance and was going with the Chinese and Russians, they'll come back over to our side. So, I mean, you might as well put a gun to your head and shoot yourself in the head if you're going to do a stupid move like that, because you clearly have not thought that through. of how many enemies you can create by attacking innocent Arab Islamic nations. So I'm gonna stop there for a minute. I'm gonna give everybody a chance to talk. Then I'm gonna talk a little bit more.
Yeah,
Well,
I got.
go ahead,
Oh,
Mike. Go ahead.
okay, so I got a little something interesting. I covered this topic this morning, and then I did a whole actual, Middle East breakdown of how we got here. I know it can be lost in translation very easily, especially when you don't live there, right? So there's a lot that's very complex, and it's kind of crazy. Now I'm going to let you guys know something, a little hidden fact about my family that I've never told anybody. But first, I'm going to show you, while I do that, I'm going to show you guys this from this morning. And this was me reporting it this morning.
I do want to get right back into
Iron
the
Dome.
headlines here as we do talk about the latest. Of course, we're talking about the
Look at
attack
that.
by Iran on Israel. About 181 ballistic missiles fired in 1 hour at Israel. And we can see just some
181.
of the images we brought you live here just yesterday as those missiles were falling over in Israel. Again, the Iron Dome intercepting a lot of those, as well as being shot down by the U.S.
So when you guys see it pop in the sky, you'll just see like big flashes. It'll go boom. That's when the actual Iron Dome's missiles intercept their missiles, and you'll see them explode in midair. So that's what that is. So anyways, something that's a little crazy about the Iron Dome, what I was showing there, but I didn't say it this morning. My grandfather, my dad's father, is the man that created the radar system for the Iron Dome. To this very day, I mean, he saved millions of lives, just off of the radar system alone. It's insane, So, I want to pay respect to him. He died, about 6 years ago, but he was the man that him and his team. Yeah, crazy, man. And he led that team. Crazy.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I got a question for you, Aaron. You was just talking about. So let me get this straight. So Iran launches 200 missiles to Israel, bombing Tel Aviv, right? But then they turn around and say, well, if you hit our oil refineries and you hit our nukes, then we're going to do this. Now, number one, I mean, whether you want to admit it or not, there is no rules when it comes to war, especially
right.
when you launch something on me. Now, when we launched something on you, we let you know that we was getting ready to do it. So you was able to get your people out. You didn't even give me that same respect. You just launched them on me. But then you turn around and say, oh, but don't hit my oil refineries and don't hit my nuke. You know what I mean? Actually, I'd say fuck you. For real. You know what I mean? Fuck you. I hit whatever I want to hit. Since you didn't bother to let me know what you're gonna do. But then too, when you go along with that, why do I need to call you? Why are we calling each other talking about, okay, I'm getting ready to bomb you in about 45 minutes, may want to get your people out of there. That don't even make sense either. You know what I mean? If you're gonna come at me, come at me. I'm gonna come at you the same way. Now, then they said, okay, well, we're gonna go over to Saudi Arabia and we're gonna bomb them if you bomb us. If I was the US, I'd be like, go right ahead. I don't fucking care. Why? Because we don't have no agreement with them bastards no more anyway. You know what I mean? So why would I care if you bomb them? You know what I mean? I'm not getting nothing out of it. For real. You know what I mean? Because our treaty dealing with the petrodollar is null and void. It's no good now. So I don't have to protect them anymore. You know what I mean? Our agreement was that I would give you military protection on the grounds that you make the US dollar the only currency that you can use to get this oil. Now, once you reneged on that, why do I care if you bomb them? Have at it. You know what I mean? That shouldn't have anything to do with us whatsoever. You know, but you have a lot of people now, though, that's actually talking about this, and they're saying that, you know, it's kind of on both sides of the fence. Some people say, yes, the U.S. is doing a good thing by doing this. A lot of people are saying that this is not a fight and we should stay out of it. So my question to you is that which one do you think it is? I'm asking you and Mike. Which one do you think it is? Do you think this is a situation that we should actually be involved in, or is this one that we should just sit out?
Well, actually, right now, we don't have a choice. We have a mutual protection agreement signed with Israel, the same way as Iran has one signed with Russia. If Iran calls, Russia must answer the call. If Israel calls, we must answer the call. Now, right now, we can take up a defensive position. We can use our forces that we have over there for defensive purposes. And really, we don't have enough to go offensively because the majority of our stuff is sitting in Europe, right across from the Ukrainian border. In case Russia wants to get bad, we're sitting there with the majority of our forces. We have very little in comparison over there in the Middle East, but we got enough to make a defensive fight of it. Now, as long as we can just be a supplier, then we can sit back and just help defend. But if push comes to shove and we have to formally come in, the Soviets are coming in too, or if the Soviets come in on Iran's side, we have to answer that call. So we could be on the outskirts right now of World War III. And I'm just curious with the people in the chat, what do they think? If they think we're on the verge of World War III, type a 3 in the chat. If you think that we can avert this somehow through negotiation, type a 1, because I'm curious to see what our people believe is going on right now. But we have no choice. We have to answer the call. Go ahead.
Well, see, the Dragon had put on there, he was talking about the Geneva Convention. I'm not talking about the Geneva Convention. Because the only thing dealing with the Geneva Convention, that's us. We the ones that got to follow the Geneva Convention. They don't have to. We the only ones that got to follow that. I'm talking about war, period. No, I'm talking about war, period. Anyone, with anyone. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whether we dealing with this or you going to war out here in the street. You know what I mean? There shouldn't be no rules to this, especially being the fact that you're going against the rule anyway, because a lot of these bombs that you putting off, you killing innocent men, women, and children anyway. So at that point, the rules should go out the door anyway, because you're already going against, you know what I mean? Because that's a big part of the Geneva Convention, that you don't harm, you know what I mean, women and children, you know, and going on down the line. I mean, a lot of people don't know anything about the Geneva Convention, but it's a lot of rules. What comes to that is basically like, okay, we can fight as long as you go by these rules. You know what I mean? Right. But they don't play by the rules.
Yeah. Could I address? Yeah, man, this, I hope I don't rant too long here. Okay. Anytime we've gone up against communist forces, if we were winning, they would want to negotiate. They'd want a truce. They'd want a ceasefire, whatever. When they're winning, they will not negotiate. There's only one outcome that's going to come out of this. I mean, the concept, because we're such sensible people and we're such practical people, that we created a Geneva Convention. That's the reason why this human shield crap is effective. Because if we put enough of civilians volunteer to be human shields, then you can't attack the force that's hiding among them. Any major war that's ever occurred in history, from Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, coming all the way forward to World War II, anytime the population was willing to be decimated by the opposition force, people, I mean, it ripped the morale right out of the warriors, because they're knowing their families are being killed and they're away at war and they can't be there to defend them or protect them. It rips the hell out of their guts. It takes their morale away. They can't fight and resist the same way when their families are being taken hostage. You look at Genghis Khan, when they would surround a town with his warriors and they would close that circle, they killed everything. Man, woman, children. They even killed the farm animals. There was birds on the ground. They got arrows through them. They killed every living thing. And when the next town over heard about it, they opened up the gates and they surrendered. Alexander the Great, he decimated two castles, 2 areas. And then when he went to the next town, they threw open the doors. I mean, I don't care. If you go to Dresden, World War II, we were allowing refugees to go into Dresden. We went and bombing it. And then to show the Germans that we were capable of that type of atrocity, not only did they carpet bomb it that night, they firebombed it. They killed every living thing there. And that took the will out of the German people to want to fight on that Western Front. They realized that we were willing to kill civilians, women and children. You look at Japan, Japan's people would have fought to the last man. Hundred thousands of American soldiers would have been killed trying to invade Japan. But what did they do? They hit Nagasaki and Hiroshima with a nuclear bomb. They showed them that we were capable of that type of atrocity. We will kill women and children if you don't come down to your knees and surrender. And what did the Japanese do? They surrendered. I don't care what you study. When you start hitting the population, you start killing the women because the women are needed to rebuild the population. You start killing the children because that's the future of that country. People come to the negotiating table. I'll stop.
What you got, Mike?
Yeah.
So when it comes to Israel, I would say here's my get down, man, and it's going to be a hot take, and I hate to be this guy sometimes, it being the unpopular decision or thinking process, right? Is that I'm very much about Americans first. I'm very, very much about that, and I think that if we're, we have so many people that we could be helping right now with just 1,000. I mean, just a just small, minuscule of what we're comparing, what we're sending overseas. It's like, man, I look at that and go, we could be using even just a little bit of that money so much better right here. You know what I mean? And so it's frustrating to watch that nonstop, just money after it's just, especially when all of us are feeling it and we're all fucking broke. It's terrible. But I don't think that we should be as involved as we are. I think that we're a little too involved, especially financially. But I understand why. I'm not aloof. I understand why that is, and it's just the way it is, right? So,
and let me add to that. It's a numbers game right now over there in the Middle East. As long as we're buying friends, and as long as we can keep them separated, Israel has a real shot going head to head with anybody and beating the hell out of them. I mean, the Iranian Air Force is adequated with the M14s and a few MiGs they got. They go up in there against them F-35 Lightning stealth fighters. They're going to be decimated. So the rockets is the best thing they got. Hopefully they don't have nukes. But with all the cargo ships flying in and out, you can bet that those Kinzhal missiles came straight from Russia. And they probably sent a few nukes over as well. And then coming back, they were probably shipping artillery rounds to the Russians coming back. If the total united Islamic world came together, Israel would lose. They just don't have the numbers, and they can't fight on multiple fronts. But if they can pick their shots and pick apart the enemy just a little at a time, one group at a time, they got a real shot at this. And we would be able to just sit back and just be a supplier. So if you get too many of the countries start jumping in, like Turkey, they're already saying that if Israel goes too far into Lebanon, they're coming in. They got the largest force in the area. So if they come in from behind, we have to answer that. We're going to have to get into a conflict with Turkey. Now, it'd be in our best interest, seeing that Turkey and Greece don't like each other, to spurn a little combat there between them two to distract Turkey away from the Middle East. But right now they're mad as hell, and they've moved forces up to the front, and they're ready to come if Israel goes too far into Lebanon. But I'll stop there.
But then you run into that conflict too, because Turkey is also in NATO.
Right.
So basically, the U.S. is going against one of their allies.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying it's like
man.
one thing. It's like you got one thing here, and you got this going here, and eventually, what would happen is that, okay, so you got Israel in the middle, and they're making their moves. You got the U.S. sitting there, and they like, okay, well, we're gonna make sure that you don't get beat up. Okay, so we're gonna help you as much as we can help you. Okay, but we also gonna help you from a distance, which means we're not gonna actually do a whole lot. We're gonna help you, but then we're gonna stand back. You know what I mean? Because we don't want to be what they can call all in dealing with this, because that would be, actual war, and being the fact that they do not have permission from Congress to even do this, they can't actually go into full-scale war right now. Now so if you have Turkey that jumps in, now you got to decide, okay, so am I gonna sit back and let Turkey do this because Turkey's a part of NATO? But I promised I promised Israel that I was going, that I was going to help them. You tying our hands at that point. So then you're gonna have to make a decision. You know what I mean? Because you're not gonna be able to keep both. You're gonna have to make a decision. You know what I mean? Which in turn is gonna start a whole new cluster of bullshit. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what we're running into. You know what I mean? Dealing with this, what you got going on in Ukraine right now, what you got troops over in Taiwan right now. We just sent troops over to Alaska because the Soviets is flying bombers super close, danger close to Alaska. You got a lot of things going on at the same time, and you putting people everywhere. You know what I mean? You're stretched thin. You're stretched thin. Now you already know that you stretched thin. If you pull a National Guard, sending them to the Middle East, you already know you stretched thin.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So what a lot of people may not, well, I'm sure they all know, but all these people that's out and about, that's the reason why this deficit keep going up too. You know what I mean? So something's going to have to give. You know what I mean? Because you can't keep printing out money now because China, they giving back your treasuries. They talking to everybody else and they giving you back your treasuries, aka your debt.
No kidding.
So what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Because you can't do it all. You're not going to be able to do it all. So that's my opinion. Now, should they use their money and deal with home first? Sure, they should. But they should have dealt with home for the past 100 years, and they haven't done that. You know what I mean? We've been the world police for everybody. Everybody that has something going on, we got some parts of it, and we giving somebody some money. Everybody getting money but us. Everybody. Hell,
that's
even
my
Mike
issue.
Money. Everybody getting money except for the actual U.S. citizens. Everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yep.
When does that stop? You know what I mean?
That's my issue.
And like right now, this is election season, and everybody big on, red side, blue side, whatever. Don't make no fucking difference because they were still giving away money when either one of them was in there. Don't make no fucking difference.
No kidding.
U.S. citizens still not gonna get shit.
Yeah, that's right.
You're not gonna get shit. I mean, unless you walk across the border, throw your shit in the ditch and turn around and walk back. Then you'll get something. Then you'll get something because them fuckers living good. They living good while your ass is hungry in your country. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
It's true. Yep.
But we've been on here for what 123. So we're gonna
do the wrap up.
Yeah. We're gonna wrap this up before I get to spewing off some shit because that what I mean that's
it's easy to do.
That touched a soft spot right there. So I'm gonna go and let this go. Because they'll come in and hit me for sure. You know what I mean? They already think I'm a Russian podcast anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't believe it. Man. That's a whole different side tangent too.
That's bull. That's bull. But anyway, I'll go first. As always, thank everybody for coming out and watching. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. You should actually hit it during the time that we actually doing the show, but make sure you hit it before we go up out of here. That helps YouTube get us in the right algorithms so we can get these views and get this stuff across. To you ones that's watching, like, follow, share, subscribe, share the video, send it to one person. Send it to one person. Let them check it out. Let them send it to somebody else. That's how this generates. Because the stuff that we're talking about, I mean, people really need to know. People really need to know. And Gio, no, I'm not Russian, but they damn sure think so.
Yes, they legit thought he was like in Russia.
Yeah, legit thought that.
Crazy.
But like I said, thanks to everyone, and I'll see you all in 7 days. Y'all take it away.
Aaron, go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to say what I've been saying all along. I mean, right now with the strike, with everything happening in the world, we're living in uncertain times. Whether you believe that this is end time prophecy happening right before our eyes, or if you just believe that we're headed toward hard times, take a look at the little nuances that the government will release to you, little tidbits of information that if you got ears to hear and you hear it, it gives you a chance to get ahead of the game. And I'm gonna give you 2 examples. In my area in 2019, we had the tornado swarm. Going into 2020, COVID came out. What were the 2 things the government was saying to you? Things are not going to go back to the way they were. And what was the other thing they're saying? The new reality. This is the new norm. Now, anyone hearing that would think, oh, that's just bull. It means nothing. No, they was giving you the heads up that we're going into a new period. Take a look at 2020 till now. Have things gotten better or have they gotten worse? And keep in mind the phrase, the new norm. This is the new norm. Things are going to start escalating. So you want to be out in front of this. You want to stockpile things. You want to put food and water back for your family. You want to have clothing put back. You want to have low denominations of 1s, 5s, and 10s at your house, because when the power goes out and you have to acquire resources, they're not taking the plastic credit card. They're not taking the checkbook. You're going to have cash, money, or gold or silver. So this life of yours is your responsibility. Take authority over it and start preparing. I'll stop there.
Well, with that being said, everybody, I appreciate every single one of you guys for hanging out with us. You guys already know that we will be back in 7 fucking days, guys. Everybody, I cannot thank each and every one of you guys enough. We couldn't do this show without you guys. Thank you for the love and support. Make sure that you guys are liking the video on the way out. Also, make sure you're subscribed to both the Diamond Effect, my channel as well. And also join the Facebook group, man. That's where we all hang out and have a good discussion outside of the podcast. You know, we all get to hang out there. So with that being said, we'll see you guys in 7 days. Much love, honor, respect, everybody. Peace.
They're back.